This is my experience that I'm going to share with you guys as far as San Pedro Sula, which we just came from there. We are now staying in La Esperanza, but I'm going to tell you what I found out in San Pedro Sula. First is that San Pedro Sula is a very industrialized city. Everything that you'll find in the States, you can find pretty much here. There's a lot of restaurants, American franchise restaurants. There's a lot of dealerships. I saw some Jeep, Ford, Ram. This is still a cash system, but you can also use credit card. A lot of the businesses here, you can use credit cards. For my opinion, we have used credit card I would say 90% of the time. Just about any shopping center that you can go to, any hardware store, any convenience store, you can pay with a credit card. But a lot of the moms and pop stores and restaurants, they don't take credit cards, only cash only, so you can use that. When it comes to gas stations, I noticed one thing different in the States, that here you have, when you pull in to get gas, you don't get out of the vehicle and pump your own gas. There's actually have people that's what they do. That's the service the gas station offers. I guess that's just a way to create employment. And so you tell them how much you want to fill it up. I always ask if I can pay with a card, and they say yes, so I pay with my credit card. Also, you can also pay cash. While they're pumping your gas, they usually come and clean your windshields, all of your windows, and also your rear view mirrors, which is kind of nice. When it comes to the cost of living, I interview about 4 people, and I ask them about their budget, how much it takes in the valley in San Pedro Sula area. One thing that I want to mention is that the houses do not have central AC like we have in the States. They use mini splits. So if they have many rooms, they have about 6 AC units, one for each room, and then the kitchen and then the living room, and so on and so forth. Of all the people that I spoke to, some of their budgets varies depending on the number of families. But I did get a chance to speak to someone that they didn't have any kids, just husband and wife. The budget for 2 people, they were telling me, runs about $1,600 a month if you already have your house, or if you're not renting, or if you own your property. $1,600 in a pretty good, decent neighborhood. Now, if you want to rent in a really high-end neighborhood, gated community with all the amenities that you can find in the States, usually the rent for those places, those houses, they run a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,200 square foot house. It'll run you about $735, but you can also rent in a established neighborhood, an older neighborhood, and that rents in those places go about $400 and $450 or so a month. If you want to live pretty comfortably, they were telling me, pretty much not living like the locals, but a pretty well comfortable life. If you already have your property, if you're not renting, $1,600 is a very good budget. You can up it to $2,000. So with $2,000 a month, you are actually living really well. Now, I did get to ask the question about the internet, just in case for people that want to, that live in the States and want to work remotely and they want to come here. And they were telling me that the best internet that they have in San Pedro Sula runs about $50 to $55 a month. I talked to a husband and wife, and they both were telling me that if you are going to come to Honduras and leave, and they were telling me that if there's just 2 people here, that it is actually cheaper to eat out breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, because it'll be more expensive to make food for 2 people than actually go and buy it. The wife was the one telling me that it's actually cheaper to buy the food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if it's only 2 of you. Now, like I said before, when it comes to the air conditioning, I would say 90% of the houses don't have air conditioning, and the people actually start buying AC units and putting them. Some people put them just in the living room, some people put them in the bathroom. And I asked those people about the cost of electricity and the monthly budget if they have air conditioning in the entire house. And I was able to talk to someone about that, and if they ever turn the air conditioning off. And this person told me that they spend about $200 a month. They tell me it can be very expensive for the locals, but if we will look at it for us in the States, it's really not that expensive. It's $200 a month, which is basically what we spend in Arizona. Now, when it comes to transportation, I realized that the infrastructure of this country is basically mostly public transportation. They have like motor taxis, the ones that you sometimes see in the Philippines, you see them in Thailand. They also have them here. They also have the cabs. They're not yellow cabs, they're white vehicles. Usually they are like Toyota Corollas. the one I've seen the most. They also have the passenger vans that have turned them into mini buses, and there are a lot of those actually. And so all of this method of transportation, they all take the same route. So if you were to wait, if you go to the bus stop and wait for a bus, the most you'll be waiting will be maybe a minute. Maybe. They're there all the time. They're constantly. And so I realized that a lot of people actually travel by foot, and they do the public transportation. So vehicle in San Pedro Sula honestly is not needed. You can just go about anywhere using those 3 or 4 methods of transportation. But if you want to have your own vehicle, you can. We rented our vehicle for 2 months, and they charged me $2,200. So it's a pretty good deal that I got. I did get to ask them about the dangerous areas so I could avoid them. They did mention a couple of maybe 3 or 4 areas for me to avoid, like the hood areas. And so they actually pointed them out to me. And so I try to avoid those places. I will never go there. It's just like some places in the Phoenix metro area. The same thing goes for you. I wouldn't recommend that you also try to explore places that you will not explore, not even in the States. Now, in talking to the everyday people that I've spoken to and that I have ran into, people, for the most part, people are very nice. They're very friendly, by the way. And if they see you are a foreigner and they see that you're trying to speak the language, try to communicate with them, they're actually pretty happy to see you, that you are actually trying, and they actually go out of their way to help you find whatever you're looking for, any directions that you're asking. So people are very nice and friendly when it comes to that. One thing that I will say is just be careful when you're driving, because they do a lot of checkpoints, and I will say just be respectful of the authorities. When they see you that you are a foreigner, they have stopped me in the past, and they have been very nice. I had to show them my passport and my driver's license, and you always carry them with you, by the way. And they have always been respectful of us, because I was very respectful talking to them as well. So be respectful of the authorities and obey the law. That's what I would suggest. Try not to be all cocky because you're American, and that will not go well with them. They may not like it, to be honest, so they can be very rude. This is a very traditional country. The people that I've spoken to, they actually believe strongly in the traditional roles, men's roles and women's role. Here in Honduras, they don't have the problem that we have in the States with the modern feminist movements. That doesn't exist here. Even though there's some in the city that you can, sort of talk to them, and they are into Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff too. But even when you talk to them, even those that are more into the U.S. kind of follow that kind of stuff, when they actually see you and you talk to them and you question them more, you realize also that they also revert to that gender role, because a lot of these young women in their early 20s are also getting married, and they actually do believe and they prefer to be a stay-home and then raise their kids, because their parents also teach them how to cook, how to clean, and all of those things that traditionally that's what's been going on. So I actually like the gender roles are really well established here in this country. The other thing that I noticed too is that people here do not really care about what happens internally in the US news. People are totally unaware of what's happening. I was watching a video in YouTube about Biden doing the Pride Month at the White House and whatnot, all of that stuff. I asked people about it. They never heard of it. They didn't know that such a thing was going on. So when it comes to that, you don't see any pride flags or anything like that. That I would say is mostly in the West and in US, Canada, and England. But here, you won't see any of that. People actually, they really don't care about what's happening in US. They have their own problems to deal with, to be honest. The other thing that I found out is that you can buy property here as a foreigner if that's something that you want to do. So for the most part, that is pretty much what I have for you guys as far as San Pedro Sula. It's a pretty nice place. Everything is there, but it's industrialized. It's pretty hot and it's humid, and that's just basically not for me. Any other question that you might have, something that I have missed to point out, you can actually put it in the comments, and I will be more than happy to respond to you. And if I don't have the answer, I will get back to you on that. But pretty much that's what I have for you guys as far as the trip to San Pedro Sula and what I found there. Hope this have been giving you some good feedbacks to you guys if you decide to want to come here and then work remotely, or live part of the year here and part back in the States. Totally up to you. But that's pretty much what I have for you guys, and thank you for joining me, and we'll see you guys on our next trip and for the next city in Honduras.